I don't know, I try to nail the ANZ Terran players, so I guess just the Australian Terran players down in terms of playstyle, I feel like Azure is definitely the player who loves going for, in TvP anyway, loves going for these multi-prong harasses, loves just picking his Protoss opponent apart before going in for the final blow. For Hut, I feel like I have not watched enough TvPs from him to really get a sense of how he plays. Like, Seither kind of strikes me as more of the time and attack-oriented player, but I could be wrong there.
Yeah, I do.
Mostly off of his TVZ.
Yeah, I do feel like Seither is more of a macro Protoss Terran compared to Hut and how his aggressive nature. But we'll see how that plays out on a map like Submarine.
Ooh, the most Pacific of the current maps. Pick meme map game number 1. Seither probably has something in store here, or maybe not. But speaking of which, we are now here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map. We do in fact have a blue Terran player coming out all the way from the land of, you told me where he's from, Light. You told me where he's from. Don't help me. Don't help me. Brisbane.
No.
Sydney.
I think so.
There we go. Representing M for Mindfreak SC, we have Seither.
Oh, mate, Shelly. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Submarine LE, we have the Australian Protoss player, also representing Mindfreak. As this is a finals team kill, we have the Australian Protoss player hailing from Melbourne. It is Pezz.
And that's, where is that barracks? It is over, right. Just pulling a bit of a TY, if you will.
Yes, it is a fake. You know, if Pezz did in fact go for a probe scout, he could be thinking that it is a proxy. But looking at the vision of Pezz, he did actually spot the racks in the natural, so he knows that there is nothing to be concerned about. That there is no, proxy hidden out on the map. It is just there in the natural.
Now, where is the bunker? I think is going to be the follow-up question here. It's either build it back at home or in Pezz's face. So, yeah, when it comes to a map like Submarine, I think they were mentioning it earlier, it's a bit of that meme map, which is kind of fair. It's not a very wacky map, it's not a very unorthodox map like something like Golden Wall of Purity and Industry is, but it is a very short rush distance map.
Yeah, definitely. It's why they were getting called out a little bit about picking the meme map as game number 1. And yeah, again, as Seither's map choice, we'll see if he has anything, anything in store for us, anything interesting, anything different, maybe a different army composition. Maybe he's just comfortable being aggressive and not really giving his opponent too much time to breathe or too much room to breathe. We'll see, as again, just like you, I don't think we've seen enough of his TvP to really put a finger on how Seither plays.
When I think of Seither's TvP, I think of his games versus Probe.
Yeah,
where goes parade push after parade push, and it doesn't work out. But I got a parade push. That is my duty.
At the same time, though, in that matchup, Probe is, we've talked about it before, he is kind of known as the Shield of Ire, right? Or one of the agents of Shield, I should say.
No, it's about, we were about to get a lawsuit from from that agent.
That to get sued by Afrika. Sorry, an agent of Shield.
Quirky was going to be the one to sue us. Looking out for his boy.
Yeah. So he is more of a defensive player. Pezz, I don't think I would categorize him as one of said agents.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of pin down again what Pezz's playstyle is like. I feel like he's one of those players who varies so much in game to game just based on his openings that it's hard to really get a sense of, what does he like to do strategically, aside from the opening.
Oh god, and what's the reaction like? He's not pulling any of the verbs! No!
He is not. 3 of them do go down here. We'll pull them here, and we'll pull them in the main. That was going to be quite worrisome. Seither going for the more old school style of, and by old school I mean about a year ago style of mine drops, just two of them to scout off what is going on with his opponent's base, not making use of that armory quite yet.
Yeah, meanwhile, Pezz is being really efficient, actually, killing a lot of Marines with just 2 Stalkers and an Adept. Killed all the Marines, actually.
Getting off a bunch more SCVs behind us as well, way more than Seither was able to kill from Pezz.
Yeah, and we can see that now, like, even though those Widowmine drops went off, Pezz is ahead in that worker count. He's actually pushing out across the map now. Blink is about to finish up as well, and a War Prism is moving out, so Pezz is looking to perhaps blink into the main base. At the same time, though, there are Ravens moving out across the map, and there are still those Widowmines set up for Seither.
I'm getting really worried for Seither now, Light. I feel like resetting that Marine count was absolutely key.
100%.
Engagement. Now the blink forward is coming in. He's going to be sniping Stim.
Oh my god. No, he's going to both. Yeah, it's going to burn down.
Repaired in time. Yeah, it's just not going to be repaired in time. Pulling the boys now to try to get a bit of a buffer for the siege tank, but one thing about siege tanks, like, they are super immobile.
And he's all in at the same time. The Raver went into the main base of Pezz, and the Widowmine drop went off as well. So workers are going down incredibly hard for Pezz. So we'll see if he can just end the game in the main base of Seither. He kills the CC.
And that is step number 1 here. Again, no stim, no medevacs here. There's nothing out here really for Seither.
No combat shield.
Yeah, there is an opportunity here for Pezz to blink on top of that tank, and once that happens, then I think this is just going to be game over. But Seither is doing a fantastic job of body blocking it.
Yeah, I love how like the crisis management. He's still working on Stim. He has another tech lab there set up, so he is trying to make what he can with what he has. And we'll see. Like Pezz, I feel like he's giving Seither a lot of time.
That indeed he is. I mean, taking out that CC, I think he can afford to give Seither that bit of time, because he knows that economically he still has the upper hand, as slight as it may be.
Oh my god, he's just getting so much value. He killed the factory. He may even get the starport here.
And right now, what Pezz is really focusing on is just trying to draw the army of Seither away from the safety of that siege tank. He is not really risking too much here with his stalkers, just trying to get a massive count up so he can just blink on top of that tank if he so desired. This Raven is absolutely the MVP right now for Seither. It is keeping Pezz on such a low economy right now.
Jesus Christ, that Raven has 12 worker kills already, just hindering the economy of Pezz, and we'll see how that goes though, because again, Seither is still only on 1 base. Like, despite being ahead in workers, he's pretty oversaturated, so he isn't mining as efficiently as he could be. Hence, yeah, again, like these stalkers are still a problem in the main base.
They are. I'm a little concerned for Pezz here. He hasn't gone for the throat quite yet. And now we see Seither, his stim has finished up.
Yeah.
Got a pretty good Marine Marauder count. And now he's supposed to blink away. He does still have the advantage here, and I think that's what Pezz is kind of counting on right now, is to just, you know, get even more ahead as time goes on.
Oh, it's for the boys!
The boys. This is... I'm getting worried for Pezz now. I think this might be a little bit too much here. These are very energetic medevacs moving across the map.
Yeah, and it's so important that Pezz actually spotted the move out, because now it means he can do stuff like this. He can start picking off reinforcements. He can start chipping away at the army with his blink stalkers. But because of the rush distance, he's already here.
That he is. He's now working on trying to get a sandwich out, but here comes a bit of a drop back into the backline.
He saves the tank.
Pezz saves the tank and actually blinks away from that anti-armor missile. It is only Seither's units that are covered in that orange dust. The tank gets picked off here, but I think that the Bioforce might just be too much for Pezz to deal with. It does seem like barely enough here with the SCVs for Seither, but the high ground vision is something that Pezz is really trying to make use of, not working out too well. I think Seither just turned this game around.
Yeah, there's just so much fire here with Stim, with combat shields, with that Raven as well. Like, Pezz, he has a shield battery, he has workers that he can pull as well, but it looks like there may just be too much here for the Terran.
Battery overcharge does help a little bit, but I think there's just too much firepower here. Dark Shrine did not even manage to complete. GG is called. Seither are going to go up 1-0 in the best of 5 finals.
Wow.
I was going to go into this whole... Well, I was going to go into this whole... Oh, yeah, Seither, he has only 1 orbital command now. He doesn't have a lot of scans available to him. If Pezz could buy enough time for these DTs to come out, this could be the beginning of the comeback, but... in the end, it just wasn't enough time there. Pezz just not going for the throat when he had the opportunity, not really transitioning out as quick as he perhaps could have as well. And in the end, he's going to pay the price for it.
And it also does come down to the crisis management of Seither. I love how even though his upgrades were denied, he immediately restarted them. And that without them, I don't think he would have been able to come back the way he did with Stim, with those bio upgrades. And yeah, that was really well done by Seither. Like, despite everything that was happening in his main base, he kept his cool.
I want this kind of decision making, like I want to be able to not panic and then pick the right follow up from a crisis. Instead, yeah, what I got. And speaking of short rushes, this is like, okay, I pulled the trigger too quick. We're not even in the loading screen yet.
Yeah, we're here. We're in game number 2. This is going to be Everdream.
Yeah, and speaking of ever having it... No, wait, goddammit. Short rush distances. We are now here on to Everdream. L-E-E-D-L-E, Edle. Which does stand for every dang living exorcist. Or something along those lines. That's one heck of a movie. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have a Purple Protoss player coming out all the way from the land of M for Melbourne, as well as M for Mindfreak. He is looking to try to win his first ever ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare. Can he do it, or will his opponent claim the three-peat? We have Pezz. And over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map, we do have a blue Terran. You are muted. I was like...
We have representing Mind Freak. As this is a team kill, we have the blue Terran player. It is Seither. So I muted to take a swig of water, and then after you finished the intro, I started introing it, and then you started introing it over me. I was like, wait a minute, like what's happening? What's going on? I was muted.
I was like, don't worry, I got this. But speaking of getting this, Everdream has a short rush distance.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm a little bit concerned for Pezz. I do believe this was his map choice, but 2 short rush distance maps in a row, I kind of want to favor Seither, especially based off of the previous game.
Well, we'll definitely have to see how the players decide to utilize that characteristic of this map.
Yeah,
you can still have a long macro game on a short map.
This is accurate. Could happen.
Yes, I agree.
These
it
are
is known.
Yeah. And again, we'll see what kind of opener Pezz decides to go for. He went for a little bit of a later blink opener last game, and because of that, you know, the Widowmine drops came in, they dealt a lot of damage. Like, he didn't really have any units in position, and I just love how Seither, you know, maybe a little bit influenced by Huts, going for some Raven harass as well in conjunction with the Widowmines. Yeah,
they definitely, I mean, they're definitely more common in TvP than they are in TvP, yeah. I can tell you that, right? But yeah, still, a lot of Terran players generally prefer to keep the Raven, store that energy, which and use it for its utility later on when you go for those timer attacks that Seither likes to go for.
Yeah, definitely. And there we have it. We have a Twilight Council on the way, a little bit of a faster Blink on the way as well from Pezz. So playing it a little bit safer, a little bit less aggressive. And I don't know, I just want to appreciate the SimCity for Pezz in his main base. I don't know if you saw, but he kind of like corralled that Reaper and then focused it down because it couldn't really go anywhere after it jumped up from the natural. It was really nice to see.
Oh yeah, there was only one, or I guess there were two exits to go a Reaper, but that's easily dealt with a Stalker and an Adept, or in this case a Sentry.
Nah.
But Seither will be able to get this second scout coming out with this mine drop. Once again, no armory out. Seither, I think, either had his fill of that build. I'm actually a little bit surprised. Like, we haven't been seeing as many armory Widowmine rushes coming out. It is just a lot of that. I think it just has to do with the fact that we are just 1 week into the new patch, so. You know, players are still trying to figure this stuff out. You know, is this good or is this just a meme?
Honestly, we've casted a lot of it, and I haven't seen any Widowmine armory rushes or anything like that. It's just been pretty standard. It's just been like seamlessly incorporated into the main army, especially in TvZ with those Widowmines. But yeah, we'll see as again, like the drop gets caught out in the middle of the map, so the Widowmine drop doesn't go off in the mineral line.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the damage that Seither was looking for there.
Or the scouting.
Or the scouting. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it. Did not go in with the medevac.
Yeah, it was just caught out in the middle of the map. So nicely done there by Pezz. He was able to catch that. It was a little bit risky as well because he was, you know, he had his stalkers out and they weren't at home in case that medevac did slip on by into the mineral line. So again, really nicely done there by Pezz, and Seither not giving up with his drops, going out with some Marines.
Another one of these, another one of the ways that you can really pile on the pressure onto your Protoss opponent. Not something you often see, a single drop of Marines. I mean, it can work out, especially considering that Seither is going into, or rather, almost going to be finishing Stim. It should be done by the time this medevac hits.
Yeah, I think combat shields at least will be done. It looks like it is. It did start a little bit sooner, so that should line up. There it is, 10 seconds away, so it should line up. And yeah, we'll see how much damage this drop can do as Pezz is taking up getting that charge lots, working on his army composition follow-up. Oh, does spot this move out as well.
Yeah, and he is, once again, going for that multi-prong. He is chasing Pezz back, signaling to him, yo, I have my main force out on the map. I am looking to go in for a timing. Meanwhile, we do see a bunch of Warpins coming in here onto the main base. One thing to really keep in mind here, Pezz doesn't really have a lot of tech. He's got a lot of gateways, and he's got Blink Stalkers. He just got charged. But yeah, he doesn't really have the anti-bio army that the Protoss player typically wants.
Yeah, and those force fields were so good, they actually stopped the Terran army from advancing onto those Stalkers, so it just bought just enough time, and now Seither was forced back, Pezz able to kind of get a hold of himself and his 3 bases defensively, and yeah, like all the upgrades are finished up, we have Charge, Twilight Temple Archives on the way, but Seither, he did consolidate his forces looking to push into this 3rd base.
Exactly. Look at that army supply difference, like nearly 30 in the favor of Seither. And now it's, I'm worried that this might just be the finishing blow. This is basically just, this is entirely a gateway army with 1 immortal, and those don't do particularly well versus Terran Bio. Do you see the mines helping out a little bit here? Not getting too much done. Battery overcharge is now done, but I think that if Seither focuses down the units, which he didn't even have to do, just take out the battery itself. That did buy Pezz quite a lot of time, though.
Yeah, and with that, Pezz was just able to hold on, just barely as well. Like, as soon as Pezz activated the battery overcharge, Seither actually focused down the shield battery, so it just immediately evaporated. That was really nicely done there by Seither, but it also bought Pezz a little bit of time, and yeah, he was just able to hold on. Now Pezz taking his 4th base, now he's working on Storm as well, and the game will progress.
I'm waiting for it to scan into the main, or I guess not too necessarily, as Seither is now transitioning to the Ghost Academy. Something that I guess Terran players will have to be mindful of going into the mid-game of a TvP. And Ghosts in general are just really useful.
Yeah, I feel like they favor Seither like incredibly well as well, just because based off of his aggressive style, like EMPing the army will help so much with Seither's Bioforce, and we'll see how that plays out. Again, I do like how Pezz is incorporating multiple types of AoE. He has Colossus on the way as well as Storm.
Yeah, for now, Seither doesn't really have the army that can counter both forms of AoE. Does have a very healthy Marauder count, but he is starting to neglect the production of Marauders in favor of Ghosts for the time being.
Yeah, which again, like Ghosts, they don't just, the EMPs aren't just for getting rid of shields, like he can also EMP the High Templar as well, getting rid of their energy. So again, I do like
the primary purpose.
Yeah, yes, I do like the army composition here for Seither, and yeah, we'll see what he's able to get done with it, as the army does get spotted by the Zealots.
Yeah, they are moving their way across the map right now. Pezz did finish researching Storm, and does have a couple of High Templar that can really make use of that. Very good EMPs on top of those Templar. Thermal Ants not quite done for these Colossus, and these Marauders are wrecking house on top of them. These Robo units are so exposed, and I believe Battery Overcharge is now on cooldown. It's off cooldown, but even still, this is just a lot of DPS coming out from Seither. More and more reinforcements coming in. Pezz trying to flank with the Chargelets, but the snipes from the Ghosts.
Yeah, without the EMPs, with just pure gateway units. Oh, but with the reinforcing Colossus and the High Templar, then Pezz, he can push this army away. But all the EMPs once again.
But Thermal Lance has completed now for the side of Pezz. So this Colossus will have quite a bit more longevity. The battery overcharge will be keeping Pezz alive once again. And Seither, he just has not been able to make a dent onto Pezz's economy. He hasn't noticed that 4th base being taken by Pezz.
Yeah, oh my god, on a knife's edge. Once again, Pezz is just able to hold on, and with that scan, the 4th base is seen, and Seither is looking to deny it.
Looking and succeeding for the time being. Yep, we'll be able to get the Nexus.
He will immediately try. Pezz tries to retake it. I'm a little bit surprised. I kind of want Pezz to start taking one of the southern Nexuses instead, but still opting to go for one of the northern ones, one of the more aggressive locations. And Pezz, he is switching up out of High Templar into Disruptors, which again, I do like, especially since there are these EMPs out on the map.
Indeed. The scary thing about Disruptors, though, is that they do tend to be a little easier to snipe than High Templar. 13, 14 SCVs going down thanks to these DTs of Pezz. There's just no detection back at home.
Oh my god, the DTs, they were to deal so much damage. Oh, the one in the main base gets sniped as well. And with that, like, Pezz, he's looking pretty good. He's ahead in workers. He's almost ahead in bases. I think Seither's 4th is a little bit more underway than Pezz's. But now with all these Disruptors, like Pezz, his army is starting to look pretty scary. It's like 5 Disruptors?
Yeah, 5 Disruptors with this army. A pretty chunky charge account to act as a lot of a buffer.
Oh my god, he gets the CC as well.
Oof. Ow, oof, owie. A lot of Ghosts are now out. Oh, the flank coming in from Seither.
Oh god!
Look at that very vulnerable Colossus. It's getting targeted down. All of the Disruptors get sniped. Look at this around the pattern next team. GG is called. It looks so done there for Seither. But wow, GG is called. MVP would have been proud of that game.
Wow.
MVP would be proud of that game.
GG, and just like that, one little mistake, one slip up, the army was looking solid for Pezz, but the pathing, he just move commanded all of his high-tech units into the army of Seither. All the Disruptors got picked off before any shot got off, and Just like that. Oh my god. GG with the 2-0 lead.
So important to get 6 rounds. I feel like there's a little bit of pecking order, right? Zerg, he always wants to get surrounds, followed by Terran, followed by Protoss. Well, I mean, in general, you want to get those surrounds. And that is why Seither really proving what you can do with a concave and a dream, and some help from pathing, to be fair, but
yeah,
still.
You can't afford to make mistakes like that. Like that's such a minor mistake, but like you can see how much of an impact that had. Like that just immediately ended the game. Like just.
Milk has been yelling at me, so now I repeat my mantra. Don't click too far away. Keep the army together. Click ticket small little clicks. Rally if I have to.
Yeah, oh god, that's Pezz. He's going to be kicking himself for that one because he was looking in a really good position, and just like that, Seither is up 2-0. He's on match point.
That he is potentially his 3rd ESL Dare Cup. Or will Pezz start the reverse sweep? Time will only tell. Well, time and the result of this game.
Yeah, time. We do have him on call. He will let us know. And
yes.
Yeah, before we get too further into this, of course, we want to give a shout out to Turbo Quacker. He's he never sleeps. I feel like, you know, he's here for the NA tournaments. He's here for the C tournaments as well. Yeah.
Thank you to Turbo Quacker. I have a theory, Light. I feel like Turbo Quacker is either 2 people or 1 person moving really quickly.
He's on turbo.
Yeah, that's why you call him that. He is on the turbo.
Hey. But yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And of course, shout out to Runamok, who got that gifted sub. And yeah, I'm sure he came in along with Probe Stream. As I believe they're still living together. I don't know. They were earlier.
That was confirmed to me yesterday.
Ah, there you go.
I don't know what I clicked. It's fine, it's fine. And speaking of roommates, here we are now with the 2 players who aren't roommates, but they are teammates. Come down into the Pillars of Gold, which is it's what's holding up. No, wait, are the pillars made of gold? So then they're holding up. No, they're the Pillars of Gold. They're holding up the wall, the golden wall.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is. That's what it is. Do you think that this is a different map? In reality, this is just the basement of Golden Wall. We all fell for it. It explains why there's so many dark zones, even though we're in a desert. It's not an actual desert. I think we just uncovered something like the FBI should be knocking down our doors pretty soon. Anyway, here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spotting in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our blue Terran player. 1 more game standing in the way between him and his 3rd ESL Dare Cup. We have representing Mindfreak SC, as well as Sydney, you said? Sydney. We have Seither. Oh, mate Sheldon.
Actually, I'm actually not sure where Sheldon's from. I know it's not Brisbane. That's all I know. I know the Brisbane boys. I'm not too familiar with whether Seither is from Sydney or Melbourne. But spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Australian Protoss player, also representing My Freak. It is Pezz.
You know why you sit bottom, Light?
Because we're underneath the golden wall.
Exactly. You know it to be true now.
Hashtag
woke.
God damn it.
I see all of it. Map makers.
Oh god. Be careful what you say. They're gonna take down the stream. We know too much.
You're gonna get the uncles on call.
They're gonna get the uncles on us. And speaking of the uncles, this is the first time we are seeing in a PVT for Pezz not going for that Twilight Council opener. Instead, going for a Stargate.
yeah, it's definitely something that I think lately tends to throw Terran players off guard, and I'm not just saying that it throws me off guard, although that's exactly what I'm saying. No, I just feel like Terran, it's not very expected. It's a little bit off meta, but you know, it's still something that you got to be aware of.
Yeah, I will say that Blink Stalker openers are a lot more common. So yeah, this is something that can catch your opponent off guard. Of course, Seither has to make sure he's on top of his scouting, but this Stalker's gonna try and stop that.
Yeah, even gets the, well, I'm not sure if it's a body block, but even still, there is enough DPS there to deter the Reaper. Good shade for it with that Adept. Takes it out.
Yeah, and with that, the scouting is denied, so Seither is still unaware of whether or not this is a Blink opener or a Stargate or anything else in between. So he is in the dark at the moment, and this is so far going well for Pezz.
He's even going to Phoenixes here instead of Oracles, which is also, it's also another one of those things that can catch the Terran player off guard. I think Pezz is opting for that style of Phoenixes where he's trying to go for a early game, very dedicated early game push, trying to lift the tank or the safety tank before just seeing whatever damage he can get done. Shouldn't be too committed.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, and the Phoenix did go into the main base of Seither. It did spot the 1-1-1 opener with the tech lab on the starport. So, you know, whether it's Raven, whether it's Banshee, there will be Phoenixes at home for defense.
Indeed, it will. Does need to get detection out, though. So is opting for the Forge. I don't believe he has the Robo. No, he does not. So yeah, going for the Forge, trying to get some cannons done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he will have the Oracle for Revelation just in case if he really does need that detection. And yeah, we'll see if these Banshees, despite being scouted, are able to get any damage done.
Well, they're definitely going to try. I think for the most part, Seither will get value out of these Banshees as long as you're able to distract Pezz. Seither is trying to go for that sort of a bunker push that has been popping up a lot more in TvP. In fact, I do it every other TvP personally. Like,
oh god, what has become of you?
But we now have battery overcharge, so yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, this is actually really good. So even though the Banshee got taken out, it got 6 worker kills.
6 kills, nicely. A very efficient trade here for Seither. Going in for round 2, and the army is across the map for Pezz.
Yeah, and the problem is that because Pezz was relying on that Revelation for detection, like that is an energy-based form of detection, so it isn't entirely reliable. So that Banshee, that second Banshee could deal a lot of damage, but yeah, do you have a couple of Marines being picked off here? Oh no!
He's pulling the Banshee back. He all armied by mistake, but now the Banshee is back on the right track.
That it is, the cannon isn't quite done yet, and all of these probes are exposed.
That they are charged going to be complete fairly soon, but Pezz is still waiting on his detection to come back.
Oh my god, he's going to get a sentry!
And not will, in fact, get a sentry. Now the Revelation is being thrown down. The Banshee will be dealt with, but so much value, once again, being done by that single unit.
Yeah, 6 workers went down, and the sentry as well, which that's the big one there. Sentries, they hold so much value because as they are energy-based units, so really well done there by Seither. You know, Pezz does manage to pick off a couple of units here and there, which is nice, even delaying the 3rd CC.
Yeah, but I feel like that also opens things up a little bit.
Yeah, like regardless, like Seither, he is looking pretty good so far this game. Like the Banshee opener, even though there were Phoenixes out on the map, like have just dealt so much damage. So Seither, he's looking pretty good in game number 3. I'm a little bit concerned.
Little bit. Most of our both players are just trying to get their tech ups. Pezz did opt for a much earlier Templar Archives this time. So does already have Storm, does already have an Archon out on the map. Just continuing to build up his forces. Pezz is sticking to this sort of gateway heavy style that is something that he likes to do, but also something that is very effective in PvT, I think. Oh, he doesn't have Storm, apparently.
Yeah, I was actually like, oh, like that.
I think that was actually Blink that was being researched, but I saw blue, so I was like, oh, that's Storm. Does he even have Blink? He doesn't have Blink.
Look, it's been a long day, all right?
But now there's Storm being researched.
Yaku, please.
I think what I actually saw was the +2 armor.
Maybe. Okay, so regardless, we have Seither pushing out in the middle of the map. Storm isn't done at all quite yet. There are a couple of Archons which would be nice, but I say a couple. There's literally one Archon. Oh, the Widowmines get picked off there.
And that's definitely huge for this charged Archon heavy army. The Terra player is relying a lot on those Widowmines to just soften up the charges before going in. But look at the starter stepping coming out from Seither, being able to take off basically all of these charges before they can get most of their damage done. And because of how, because of the short range of the Archons, it really took a long time for Pezz to really make a splash there in terms of splash damage.
Yeah, but regardless, Pezz traded incredibly well there. I love the way he utilized his Phoenixes. He picked up every single Widowmine before any shot went off. He picked up the tank as well and a bunch of Marauders, so he was able to push away that force from Seither and trade as efficiently as he could. Wow.
But once that has been confirmed by Seither, he is now switching things up quite a bit. He is incorporating Ghost into his army, stopped the tank production, is focusing entirely on mines. I think he did that a while ago, but I mean, he's still doing it now, so...
Yeah, and I do like this from Pezz, that he is working on his robotic spay. Like, he skipped Storm entirely, and I feel like that's probably the right call, especially since Seither already has Ghosts on the way, so they can completely just neutralize High Templar and Storm. So opting for a different kind of AoE, whether it's Disruptor or Colossus, I think will benefit him a lot more. And yeah, Pezz expanding to the right hand side as well, taking his 4th base, a little bit of a more defensive position, not as aggressive as in previous games.
Yeah, as Wise Man once said to me, like, when I told you that Ghosts were really good regardless or really good against Colossus, I was joking.
That was actually a really good Milk impression.
Aha! Yeah, that was definitely what I was going for there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seither now covering all of his bases. He is starting to jump in with his Ghost, being able to take down the shields of a lot of these Archons. Shield battery not there, so can't really help out. And I feel like this might be too much DPS, question mark. The Widowmines do manage to connect in the end. The Vikings are now here just to, you know, round off, make sure that Seither's covering his bases. It's going to be a while before these Colossus get in. And yeah, Seither's already picking up the anti-air of Pezz.
Yeah, the rally seems to be too much, and more importantly, the Widowmines are starting to recharge, so he can always fall back to them if there's too much, but it looks like there isn't. There it is!
And with a 3-0, Seither is going to make that 3, Pete. Almost on his way to tying it up with Probe.
Wow, GG, well played. Seither sweeps that series 3-0, and as you were saying, claims his 3rd ESL Open Cup Fueled by Terra championship. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I'm doing math right now just to figure out how many of these players have how many championships. But yeah, even still, it's kind of rare.
Yeah, and I'm just looking into the group once again. So these 3 players we were talking about, Demi, Pezz, and Seither, they are all in a group together, and this could be a tell for things to come. Again, Pezz, I was really curious to see how he would do in this matchup, because obviously Seither is an incredibly strong player. Clearly seen by his results, he's won 3 of these already, and Pezz showing he's in form against Protoss, against Probe. Problem being, Pezz is the only Protoss in his group. So that isn't going to come into play.
Not yet. Anyway, we don't actually know how Seither is playing the rest of the bracket, though, to be fair. I believe he took out Just Simon. Oh, well, Just Simon is also a Protoss player.
Yeah.
And also not in his group, so...
Yeah. So I'm a little bit concerned about Pezz. I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of Zergs in Pezz's group, and that's like his ideal matchup. But it's Zergs and Terrans, and Pezz may need to work on his PvT in the coming days between now and Friday, which is the first group.
Oh, yeah, you definitely don't want to. You definitely don't want to. If you're in the shoes of Pezz, if you focus on just defeating the Zerg players and maybe losing to the Terran players, there's still a shot, right? Because the way this bracket or these groups actually work out is pretty interesting. The top 3 from both groups qualify into the main event, and then the 4th place of both groups will have to duke it out for that 7th slot.
Yeah, as of course in total 7 will advance to meet Risky, which will form the top 8 in that main event. And yeah, again, something that could be a little bit concerning. Like for the longest time, we looked at Probe as one of the best Australian players, or the best Australian player. And obviously we've been talking about how the scene is a lot more competitive in 2020, in more recent months. And something that's concerning is Probe, he's in the Protoss group. He's in Group A. And you know, I don't know if you remember this, when Pro played in GPO a couple of months ago, he played in his first and only GPO, I believe. He went up against Beastlork in one of the earlier rounds, and again, a PvP. That's where Probe met his demise. So maybe, and he's expressed his disdain for the matchup in the past, about how like volatile and how like quote unquote coin flippy it could be because of how aggressive like Protoss players can be, and how proxies are thrown out, proxy Stargate versus proxy Robo. We talk about that all the time. Stalkers against Adepts, like there's just so much that goes into it. And yeah, even though we've seen him as one of the best Australians, like these groups, what I'm trying to say is these groups could go either way.
These groups are rough, yeah.
Yeah.
Could go many different ways.
And that's also what makes it exciting, though, right? Like, it's not exactly clear-cut who's going to make it out.
Nodding along here, in agreement here. I think there are definitely a lot of underdogs looking at these sort of groups, but there are also a lot of players who we regularly get the privilege to cast and watch their growth, right? Like Justice Simon, like Ranger, like Azure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not generally the players who you think of as the favorites to make it out of their groups, but we know a little differently.
Yeah, it's exciting to see, you know, especially like you were talking about some of the ones that we're a little bit unaware of, like Blisk. You know, Blisk made it through, and like, how is Blisk looking in these matchups? God knows. Like, he probably doesn't even know himself, right? He's like, oh my god, I pulled it off. Like, what am I even doing? It's working great.
That's literally what he tweeted out before he played in the qualifiers. He was like, yeah, I don't expect to make it out because haven't been playing much at all in the past months, but you know, just go along for a bit of a ride, and now he's actually there. He's actually in the group stage and just looking forward with dead eyes. Like, how did this happen?
What have I done?
What do I do now? I made a huge mistake.
And it's great, to be honest. Like, you know, me and Micah was tweeting about how happy he is to see such good like diversity when it comes to national representation. Like, you've got Ranger from Malaysia, Bliss from Singapore, Ender from the Philippines. You got the Vietnamese players as well. Like, there's like SEA is pretty well represented in this Challenger series, as well as of course all the Australian players. You know, so it's cool to see like a nice split, and we'll be able to see them duke it out. And yeah, we'll see who can, and of course Demi, not to forget India. But yeah, it's really cool to see. It's a bit unfortunate. Mighty Kiwi was expressing his it before, like there's no one from New Zealand, other than Risky, of course.
I mean, you got Risky in the main event, so
it's true.
You can't complain too much, New Zealand. Come on.
Oh boy.
You already got your day. Or your due.
This is who you're stuck with. This is your representative. You got risky. But yeah, it's really cool to see, and I'm excited. I'm excited, and I can't wait to tune in. As a reminder, these groups are going to be played out over the course of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think Monday as well. I just know it's going to be a weekend full of StarCraft.
That it is. But if you don't want to wait that long, we will be broadcasting again this week. We will definitely have something for you on Thursday. That being the NA Contender. If you are, or NA Apprentice? No, NA Contender. Where we will be covering the round of 8. That's plenty of best of 3s there. And we might have something for you tomorrow. But I'm not sure how much we're allowed to talk about that.
Yeah, we may have something special in plan tomorrow. But when it comes to our usually broadcast schedule, in 10 hours we will be live. Yodasim and I will be live with the first DreamHack NA qualifier. I believe it is in 10 hours. NA qualifier number 1, followed by the next day will be the Latin American qualifier number 1, followed by NA number 2, followed by Latin America number 2. It's it's gonna be a long week of StarCraft.
Indeed, it will be.
It's okay, you don't have to worry about it, Yaku. It's just me and Yoda casting that.
I just yeah, well, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You might need someone to sound check.
This is accurate. I don't know if you'd be awake in time for it, as these are in the early day or early in the morning. Yeah. All right, but as we do begin to wrap this up, I also want to, give a shout out to Kuro, 16th squad Sanseki. She did cast a game earlier, and we really appreciate her joining us. Of course, if you do want to hear more of her cast, there are not lily pads anymore. There are grapes that can be redeemed in the chat if you want to hear her in a later broadcast.
Shout out to the duck song. But that should just about wrap us up, as Kuro is reminding us that we were planning to make the outros shorter. So, Light, I guess, where can we find you? Also, shout out to their iced coffee with the new Arabica cold brew, something like that.
Yeah, Arabica cold brew. You can follow me at Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream occasionally. I won't be streaming this week though, as I will be casting for the majority of the time. But you can follow me on social media, as I do usually tweet about when I go live. And Yaku, what about you?
Well, twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. Also won't be streaming this week. Twitter.com/EmporaYakuzaku. Discord. You'll be in the Ducklings Discord server, where you can find all of us around and whatnot. Buy my shirts. And of course, we have Kuro here doing the production as well as casting the game earlier. 16th Squad S on Twitter, at 16th Squad S, and also 16th Squad Senseki on Twitch. She might stream. She probably won't though. Yeah, and I think that should just about be it. Gonna be planning to survive this week of long casting Light with their iced coffee.
Indeed. And of course, if you do want to stay tuned, we will be rating another stream. We will be rating Dax, as he is currently casting the Taiwan-Hong Kong qualifier for DreamHack right now, which Gogo Joey is participating in. So do, of course, support him. We'll be rating him, and we will see you in 10 hours.
Yeah.